Welcome, this is On with Repro Products. This video is a tutorial on how to work with Bluebeam Revu 2017 and in particular how to set up a studio project to upload files and folders and also to create sets for those files online. And the intention is to help people understand if I have a set of PDF files and I need to slip sheet the latest versions, how do I do so within a set but on the Bluebeam Studio, not necessarily on the local hard drive or the local file server. Here I am in Bluebeam Revu 2017. First thing you'll want to do is head over to the upper right hand corner and click Settings. Head over to Preferences. And when this window opens up, go ahead scroll down to you see the Studio feature. Select that and make sure Toolbar Integration Only is unchecked. If this is checked, that means that your BTX files and your saving options are set to local. So I'm going to uncheck this and click OK. I'm also, because I am used to this, I'm going to switch my general and switch my display to dark because I kind of prefer the contrast. It's a little easier to see. Now that I have that set up, how do I start up a new studio project? I can click the icon for studio right here and it will open up that command on my right hand side. You can move this if you need to move this. Just left click and hold and sort it however you need to sort it, or actually drag it out and put it somewhere else. Okay? And if it is out and you want to put it back, just left click and drag and hold and it'll come back to where it was. To start a new project, I'll click Start and click New Project. It'll ask for a name. The name of this project is typically one of your projects that you're working with within your company. Maybe you're working on a hospital renovation or a supermarket. So let's do martial arts school renovation. And I'll click OK. It automatically creates a network drive, if you will, on the Bluebeam Studio servers, which are Amazon class servers. And here I can either create a new folder, I can upload files, or upload folders. In this case, I'm going to click Upload Folder, and it's going to ask us to go get our folder. So I'm going to select my folder called Sample Sets 3 and select this folder. What will happen is the software will automatically upload the folder and all the subfolders and all the content within all of the subfolders up to the Bluebeam Studio project. Depending on how many files that you have and how much you need to upload and your connection speed will determine how long it takes. Now, in my Sample Sets 3.0 folder, I have three subfolders: Original Set, Revision 1 Set, and Revision 2 Set. The original set, it has a whole bunch of PDF files, one for each sheet in the construction document set, and it shows the data. If I look at the Revision 1 Set subfolder, it'll have a 100 through a 302, and it says Revision 1. These are to denote changed PDF data content. Maybe the work was updated and a week has passed. You'll do the same thing. I've done the same thing for Revision 2 Set. If I right-click any one of the files now, I can check out that file. And if I check out the file, it has a red check mark on it. If I double-click the file, it will open up the file. In this instance, the A100 sheet shows that it's already superseded. And the reason it shows this is because I created a BTX set file for testing purposes and superseded it with the A100 Revision 1 file. So that has been tagged as superseded. I'm going to close this file and I'm going to check it back in. So now that you know how to create a Bluebeam Studio project and upload files and folders, how do you create a set BTX file and place it here on your Bluebeam Studio project so that you can use it to slip sheet in the revised content? If I use my orange yellow access tab button here and click it, you'll look for sets, click that, and it opens up the sets command window. Here, if you already have sets, it will list them. Since I don't have any, I need to create one. So I'm going to click New Set. It gives you a slight warning about tags, excuse me, because there's some updates to tagging convention. I'll click OK. And now it asks us to add the files. So I'm going to add files. And you'll notice that because I unchecked within my preferences, the open project file shows up and it gives me access to that actual Bluebeam Studio project. So you see this project ID number here, 735973321. That's that particular project. I'm going to open up that subfolder, open up the original set, grab all these files, and I'm going to click OK. Now that those are added, I'm going to I'm going to click OK for it to create the initial BTX file. Here, the tags are automatically being displayed and set up. Excuse me, and it shows you the tags are looking at the names of the files and the sheet labeling and what the sheet names are going to be and the sheet numbers are going to be and what revision cycle this is. So since this is the first set of files in your set, it's going to have a revision number of 0. Click OK. And once that's done, it'll show you the files. Okay, and again, remember my original sets have already been superseded. Now, how do I go about slipping in the revised sheets? If I click the plus symbol here to add files to the set, I can do so. I'll click OK on that warning again, and this time I'll go to the revision 1 set and grab those files. I'll click OK. And then the tags window pops up again, and it's to help you understand that any sheets that are being slip sheeted in and excuse me, set up, you'll see it says 1 revision number. So now if I click OK, then it'll do a matching and it'll double check to let you know, hey, here's A100 from the current. Here's the A100-Rev1 file. Is that correctly matching? And if they are, great. If they're not, you can select any one of these files and move them up or down on either side. Click OK, and it will let you know that you have 18 files will get checked out, so we'll check them in once it's finished. And we let it go, let it do its thing. You'll see on the right-hand side the check marks for them being checked out. I'll click OK and let it upload the files to check them back in. And again, depending on how many files you have to upload and revise, that will take the amount of time it takes to push down, check out, make the necessary changes and push back up. I'm going to pause the video and let it do its thing, and then I'll come right back. Now you'll also notice here that the updated files also say superseded. And the reason is because in my test sample file, I also did a second superseding because I have a revision 2 set here in my project. So how do I upload those as well? So I'll click Add Files to Set. And just so you know, you can also open files and grab files directly from your disk, meaning from the local hard drives and the network drives. Whereas this window says by default, it's looking at the studio project and all the subfolders in there. So again, I'm going to go to Sample Sets 3.0, go to Revision 2, and I'll pick these files. I'll click OK, and it's going to bring those in. And this time, because these sheets are brand new and they haven't been introduced to the set, the tagging system kicks in and says, hey, I need to tag these sheets. So it's asking me to select the sheet name and the area for tagging. So I'll click Select. I'll zoom in here and I'll pick this area. I'll then click OK. And again, it will go through that process. And now it says I need to tag the sheet numbers as well. So I'll do the same procedure for the sheet numbers. Click OK, and when it's finished, it will apply the tags. Again, we can expand this tags window, and now you'll notice there's a second. Now you have revision number 2 for those latest revision 2 PDF files. Click OK. Those tags will be applied. Those sheets will also be applied to the set. And we just wait a second and it'll do its thing. And I'm going to pause the video and come right back. So now you'll notice that in your list of sets, it'll say A100 Rev 2. There are little blue arrows here that you can click to go back to the previous sheets to see what they look like, and they are stamped as superseded. If you need to, you can click the Edit Tags button to get into the Tags window to look at how these sheets are tagged and categorized. You'll see the file names, the page labels, the sheet names, the sheet numbers, and the revision numbers. You can sort as well if you need to by clicking the names of the columns. If you need to tag or retag any one of them that don't have anything set up properly, then you can select it. And for example, if I go in here and I click where it says sheet A203 and I click this cell, I can click AutoMark, and this will ask me to bring up a window that says what's the sheet number. So if I click a select, I can go back down here and pick this window so that it double checks the sheet number, and it will make the necessary updates and changes. Click OK and you're out of the tags window. Now I'm going to pause this for 1 second. So if we take a look at some of the other additional icons that you have in your sets dialog command line, you'll have the ability to save that set. And since I already have it saved, I have it saved as the latest revisions.bex file here. If I want to, I can save it as a different set, and this window will pop up and you can specify its location and its name here. You can also save it to your local hard drive if you need to as well. You have the ability to, again, to click add files to the set, to add more files to the set if you have to. You have the ability to print. Now, when we're printing, you can either print everything or print just the latest revisions or the previous revisions. So for example, if I click print latest revisions, this dialog box will pop up for batch printing, and it will list all of the sheets that need to be printed, and you'll see it's A100, 101, 2, 3, and so on, and it says Rev 2. That's the latest. You can obviously sort them if you need to by moving the arrows up and down. You can add open sets if you need to as well. You can click add to add other files. You can click OK, and it will open up your print dialog box to ask you where you want to print it, and then you can just go through that process of printing. You have the ability to click search and search within this set if you need to either text or visual. For example, if I do a text search for, say, address, it will look for all of the text that says address, and I can see them, and I can click any of the results and it will take me directly to that location. And by the way, you can collapse the little arrows head here as well. If you want to, you can do a visual search if you have to. And let's say, for example, I want to do a visual search of something on this sheet. Let's do a search for, or let's go to a different sheet. Let's go to A103 sheet. And I want to do a visual search of, say, these computers. I'll click Get Rectangle, and I can make my window selection like so. I can set up the sensitivity level as well. The higher you go, the more finite it has to be. We'll click Search, and it'll run through the entire PDF document and that current set, because that's the default option. And it'll tell you in the progress down here in the lower right hand corner of your search tab, and when it's all said and done, it'll give you your results. I'm going to pause the video and let it do its thing and be right back. So when you're running the search within your set, like I said earlier, the default is current set. If this option is checked, unfortunately, it will look through all of your sheets, even the superseded ones, and that may take a while. So for now, I did the search again as current document, and you can see all of the 8 results that it found for that particular sheet. And if I need to, I can do a Control A to select all of them, and I can go ahead and either apply a count measure to them and either pick one of the defaults or pick one that I made custom. So for example, I'll do the custom one. We'll do apply count measure. We'll check all of them. And then we'll apply a count measure, say this triangle. And if it can't do it and there's a security lock, it's because other files are open as well. So for now, that's the searching option here within your search sets window. You can also publish, by the way. You can publish and combine or package or export the drawing log. If I click combine, it'll ask me to create a new document and give it a location, and it's going to default to your local drive. It doesn't give you the option to save it back to the Bluebeam Studio projects. So for now, I'm going to put it under my temp folder, and I'll call it combine test, and I'll hit save. And it'll go through that process of combining all of them. It opens up the combine PDF files window. It lists all of them in there. And I could, if I really wanted to, and I only want the latest and greatest, I can go through the process of selecting the ones that I don't want. I'm using the control key on my keyboard and highlighting the ones that I don't want. And this is basically the same thing as a stapler functionality. And I'll hit the X to delete those, and so it's only going to grab those. And I'm going to rip this one out too. Then I'll hit OK, and it automatically makes that new file called combine test. If I use the command of publishing to package it, then what ends up happening is you'll get a dialog box that opens up. So what happens is the dialog that pops open is called package1.pdf, and it lists the name of the file, the author, the date created, looking at all the open every single one of them, adding files, folders, and it lists that data. And if you click any one of them, it'll open up. Lastly, you have export drawing log. And if you do this, it will open up the export drawing log dialog box, and it will list all of the data that you want to export. You check what you want to export, you uncheck what you don't want to export. You can select any one and move them up or down the list to show that data. We'll click next, and we can export it into various formats, Excel, PDF, or Excel CSV. So I'm going to pick Excel XLSX. The title will be the drawing log and the set name. And we can export it either directly to the Bluebeam Studio project, or we can click change and put it to our hard drive if we want to. So for now, I'm going to put it to the hard drive under my temp folder, and I'll click select folder. And then I'll click done, and it will export that log out. And it'll give you the format in Excel format. There's that data. Lastly, again, like I said, you have the edit tags button to get into that, and you have show or hide thumbnails, which basically collapses the display. It makes it a little easier for you to see. And if I click just the one blue, for example, then it will just show me the data or not show me the data. And the arrowhead here, so if you see the line, there's a red line that basically lets you know that the current file you have open, the current sheet you have open, has a red line for superseded. and the arrows are what you want to use to jump to the latest page or to the oldest pages. And you have to give it a second because it takes a bit of time. Um, and then lastly, you have the preferences setup window. That's a little cog wheel that if you click, it'll take you to the preferences, and you can get over to sets and make any adjustments that you need to make to it. So this has been a video tutorial on how to set up a Bluebeam Studio project, to upload files and folders, to check in and check out files, to create a set that is contained and placed on the Bluebeam Studio project, and how to slipstream multiple sheets within the set within the Bluebeam Studio project. I'll save my set and then I'll close as well the set. Just remember, I will also try to do another video on just sets where we're not involving the Bluebeam Studio project, and it's slightly different, and also depending on the version of Revu you're running will dictate what you can and cannot do from a manual sheet by sheet method of slipstreaming versus a batch method. Thank you very much for watching.